misconception. They think that wealth comes from doing something big, picking the right stock, starting the right business, inheriting the right money, catching the right break. People are watching for the big move, the dramatic decision, the lucky moment that will change their financial life. And they're watching in the wrong direction. Because wealth doesn't come from a big move. Wealth comes from 1,000 small ones, done quietly, every single day for decades. You see, the people who actually have money, not the people who look like they have money, but the people who actually have it, share a set of habits that are almost embarrassingly quiet. None of these habits would make a good news story. None of them would sell a book. None of them feel like the answer when somebody first hears them. They are too small, too slow, too unimpressive. But here's the truth. The quiet habits are doing the work. While other people are looking for the big move, the quietly wealthy are running these habits day after day, year after year, decade after decade. And the compounding of those habits is what produces the bank account that everybody else is trying to figure out. Today, I want to walk you through 10 of them, 10 quiet habits that if you install them in your life and run them for 10 or 20 years, will produce a financial outcome you wouldn't have believed was available to you. Not by doing anything heroic, just by doing the small things every single day, the way the quietly wealthy have been doing them all along. Most of these are going to sound too simple to matter. That feeling is the trap. The simplicity is exactly why they work. Now, before we get into the list, you have to understand why the quiet habits beat the loud ones. Because most people, when they think about money, are looking for the loud answer, the home run, the deal of a lifetime. The thing that, if it works out, will change everything. And here's the truth. The loud answers almost never work. The home run usually doesn't connect. The deal of a lifetime turns out to be the deal of somebody else's lifetime, not yours. The big bet, more often than not, loses. And the person who staked their financial future on the big bet ends up worse off than the person who never made any bets at all. You see, the math of the loud move is brutal. The upside has to be enormous to compensate for how often it fails. And almost nobody actually gets the enormous upside. Most people get the failure. The lottery is a tax on people who believe in loud answers. But the quiet habits don't depend on any single move working. They depend on small actions, repeated over time. Pay yourself 10% of every paycheck. Wait 2 days before any large purchase. Track every dollar that comes in and goes out. None of these are exciting. None of them will make you rich next month. But they will, with mathematical certainty, change your financial position over years. And the reason they work is that they are not dependent on you being lucky. They're dependent on you being consistent. Consistency is something you can choose. Luck is something you wait for. The quietly wealthy understand this in the bones, while everybody else is still waiting for their break. You must accept the math before you can use it. The math says small inputs multiplied by time produce large outputs. And the only thing the math requires from you is that the inputs keep happening. They don't have to be impressive. They don't have to be dramatic. They have to be there every single day, every single payday, every single year for a long time. And if you can do that, the math handles the rest. You don't have to be clever. You don't have to be lucky. You don't have to outsmart anybody. You just have to keep running the quiet habits while everybody around you is still hunting for the loud answer. They never find it. You never need it. The math takes care of you. Today, 10 habits. Run them for 20 years. Watch what happens. Number 1, you must pay yourself first before you pay your bills, before you spend on anything else, before you do anything with the paycheck that just landed. A percentage of it, and 10% is a good starting point, goes into a savings or investment account that you don't touch. This sounds simple, almost too simple to be the most important wealth habit, but it is. It is the foundation that every other habit on this list builds on. Because if you don't pay yourself first, every other dollar in your life is already promised to somebody else. The landlord, the bills, the food, the wants, the small daily indulgences. And whatever is left at the end of the month, which is almost always nothing, is what you save. Except you didn't save because there wasn't any left. Here's the truth. The order matters more than the amount. 10% paid before anything else is more powerful than 50% saved from what's left, because what's left is always zero. The quietly wealthy understand that the first dollar of any income is theirs to keep. The last dollar belongs to whoever asks for it loudest. You see, this habit also rewires how you think about money. When you pay yourself first, you start to feel like the money you earn is actually yours. When you pay everybody else first, you start to feel like a conduit. Money comes in, money goes out, and you never see any of it. The first version produces an owner. The second produces a worker bee. The fix is mechanical. You set up an automatic transfer the day the paycheck arrives. 10% of every paycheck moves before you can touch it into a separate account. You forget that account exists. You don't check it, you don't borrow from it, you just let the deposits accumulate. And after 1 year, you have 10% of your annual income sitting in an account that didn't exist before. After 5 years, you have half a year of income. After 10 years, you have a year of income. After 20 years, with even modest investment growth, you have something approaching financial independence. All from one habit. Automated, quiet, boring, running in the background of every paycheck you ever receive. Most people will never install this habit because it feels too small to start. You must install it anyway. The quiet wealth that follows is exactly the size of the consistency you bring to it. Next, keep a running record of every dollar that comes in and goes out. Not in your head, on paper, or in a simple file. Updated weekly, looked at monthly, reviewed honestly, in cold light, when there is nobody else around. You see, most people don't actually know where their money goes. They know roughly. They have a sense. But if you sat them down and asked them to tell you to the dollar what they spent on food last month, or on entertainment, or on subscriptions and small monthly charges, they couldn't tell you. They are guessing, and guessing is what keeps them broke. Because the dollars you can't account for are the dollars that quietly leave. The $5 charges that come out every month and never get noticed. The eating out that adds up to $400 but feels like $60. The small impulses that over a year amount to thousands you never decided to spend. Here's the truth. The act of writing down every dollar, not for a month, not for a year, but forever, changes your relationship with money in a way nothing else does. Because you can't keep doing wasteful things. If you are watching yourself, do them. In writing on a record, you can read back. The watching by itself is what changes the behavior. You don't need willpower. You don't need restrictions. You don't need a budget you'll never follow. You just need to see every week exactly where your money went. And the seeing produces the adjustment automatically without you having to fight yourself. The quietly wealthy track. Not because they are obsessive, because they understand that what you don't measure, you can't manage. And what you can't manage, manages you. So they put a small effort every week into knowing exactly where their dollars are going. And the small effort returns a lifetime of clarity. The way you do this is unimportant. A notebook, a spreadsheet, an old envelope with handwritten totals. The medium doesn't matter. The habit does. Once a week, sit down. Write down what you earned this week. Write down what you spent. Write down where it went. Look at the numbers honestly. Do that for the rest of your life. By year 5, you will have a financial life you actually understand. By year 10, you will have made 1,000 small course corrections that produced a financial position the untracking version of you would never have reached. The watching is the entire mechanism. Next, you got to live below your visible means. This is the habit that separates people who appear wealthy from people who actually are wealthy. The two groups in real life almost never overlap. The person whose lifestyle screams money is statistically drowning in payments. The person whose lifestyle says nothing is the one with the bank account. You see, every increase in income produces a fork in the road. You can spend the new income and feel richer for a month, or you can keep your living costs steady and put the difference into savings, investments, and freedom. The fork looks small in the moment. Over a career, it produces enormous divergences. The person who got a raise and immediately rented a bigger apartment, leased a nicer car, ate at more expensive restaurants. That person, after 20 years of doing that with every raise, has a bigger apartment, a nicer car, more restaurant meals, and the same anxiety about money they had at the start. The person who got the same raise and kept their lifestyle steady, kept the cheaper apartment, the older car, the home-cooked meals, has, after 20 years, accumulated a meaningful sum of money. They look the same as the first person. To outside observers, you can't tell which is which, but one of them is wealthy and the other is one bad month away from disaster. Here's the truth. The visible means is a trap. Most people aim their spending at what they think their income allows. The quietly wealthy aim their spending at what they actually need, and let the gap between need and income become their freedom over time. You don't have to live in poverty. You have to live without trying to signal your income. You drive a car that runs, not a car that announces. You rent or buy a place that fits, not a place that impresses. You eat well, but not theatrically. You dress well, but not loudly. And the gap between what you could spend and what you do spend goes every month into the accounts that produce real wealth. By year 5, the gap is meaningful. By year 10, it's significant. By year 20, it's the difference between freedom and obligation. The visible person spent it on the appearance of wealth. The quiet person had the wealth itself. Next, you have to wait before you buy, not for everything. The small daily things are fine to handle in real time, but for any purchase above a certain threshold, and the number depends on your income, but somewhere between $50 and $500 is a reasonable starting point. You wait. 48 hours, 72 for larger items, a week for anything significant. The waiting is the entire habit. You see the thing you want, you consider buying it, you don't buy it. You go home, you sleep on it. You come back to the decision the next day with the impulse cooled down and decide whether you still want it. Here's the truth. A large percentage of the things you want in the moment, you stop wanting 48 hours later. The desire was generated by the moment, by the marketing, by the situation, by a mood that has passed by the time you've had a chance to sit with the decision. And the purchase, made in the cooler version of your mind, never happens. That is, money saved quietly, without restriction, without a budget, just by waiting. The waiting does the work that no budget could do, because budgets feel like restrictions and people fight them. The waiting doesn't feel like restriction. It feels like you're being thoughtful. And being thoughtful is something almost nobody objects to in themselves. You see, the impulse purchases are the leak in most people's financial life, not the big planned expenses. Those they tend to plan for. The leak is the small to medium impulse. Buy that, accumulated, runs into thousands per year. The waiting habit closes the leak without any willpower, without any sacrifice you can feel. And by the time you've been doing this for a few years, your relationship with desire is different. You can sit with wanting something without immediately acting on it. The wanting becomes information, not a command. And information you can think about is information you can choose what to do with. The quietly wealthy wait, not because they are tight, because they have learned that the version of them that decides in the moment is not the version of them whose money it actually is. The later version has different priorities. The later version is the one they consult before they spend. Next, drop the habit of spending money to impress people who, fundamentally, don't care about you. This is the biggest leak in modern financial life, and almost nobody admits to themselves they are doing it. You see, a huge percentage of what most people buy is not for them. It is for the version of them that exists in other people's minds. The car is to be seen driving the car. The clothes are to be seen wearing the clothes. The vacation is to be talked about. The dinner is to be mentioned. The house is to impress the people who visit it. You must understand the asymmetry. And here's the truth. The people you're trying to impress aren't actually paying as much attention as you think. They are too busy worrying about how their own life looks to spend much time evaluating yours. The whole spectacle is happening in your head, paid for in dollars that could have been doing real work in your actual life. The handful of people in your life who do actually pay attention to you, your family, your closest friends, the people who genuinely care about you, those people don't need to be impressed. They love you regardless of the car, the clothes, the dinner. The impressing is for the audience that is not actually watching. So the money is being spent on a performance that has no spectators. You must catch yourself when this is happening. When you are deciding whether to buy something, ask the honest question, would I want this if no one would ever see me with it? If the answer is no, you are about to spend money on the performance, not the thing. The quietly wealthy stop doing this very early. Some of them never did it. Others did it for a while, realized they were broke at the end of every month, and traced the brokenness back to the performance. So they stopped performing. They started spending only on what they actually wanted for themselves. And the freedom that came from stopping was bigger than any of the things they had been buying, because they were no longer working to fund a show that nobody was watching. They were working to fund their actual life. And the difference was enormous in their bank account and in their peace. Next, You got to negotiate every recurring expense in your life once a year. Every subscription, every insurance policy, every monthly bill, every contract, every service. Once a year, you sit down, list them all, and either renegotiate them or cancel them. This habit takes one afternoon, maybe two, once a year, and it produces savings that, over a decade, run into tens of thousands of dollars for nothing more than the willingness to make a few phone calls and ask a few uncomfortable questions. Here's the truth. Most companies count on you not asking. The price you pay for your insurance, your phone, your internet, your cable, your utilities, your subscriptions, almost none of it is the lowest price available to you. It is the price you have been paying because you haven't called. The call is short. You ask for a better rate. You mention that you are considering switching. You ask what they can do. About half the time they offer you something. The other half, you have the information you need to actually switch. Either way, you have done something with your bill that the previous version of you was never doing. You see, the quietly wealthy aren't paying less because they are special customers. They are paying less because they ask every year without embarrassment, without apology. Because they understand the price on the bill is a starting point, not a final number. And the difference between starting and final, paid every month, becomes meaningful money. The subscriptions are the same. Most people have a layer of small monthly charges they signed up for 2 years ago and never canceled. $5 here, $12 there. 3 of those, 2 of these. Over a year, hundreds of dollars going to services they no longer use or never really wanted. Once a year, you must list every subscription you are paying. You ask honestly whether you actually use each one. The ones you don't use, you cancel that day, right there, in one sitting. No more polite avoidance. No more telling yourself you'll cancel later. Do that every year for 20 years, and the cumulative savings are enormous. Not from one big move, from dozens of small, deliberate adjustments made consistently every 12 months, while everybody else just keeps paying whatever the bills say. The asking is free. The not asking is what costs you. Next. You must invest steadily every single month, regardless of how you feel about the market, the economy, the world, or your job. The investing is the habit. The amount can be small. The consistency is the entire game. You see, most people invest based on their emotions. When the market is up and they are feeling optimistic, they pour money in. When the market is down and they are feeling scared, they pull money out. Or they wait to start until things settle down. Or they wait to start until they have more disposable income. And here's the truth. The emotion-driven investor is the worst investor in the room. They buy high, they sell low. They miss the recoveries by sitting on the sidelines waiting to feel better. Their emotions cost them most of the returns they would have otherwise earned. The quietly wealthy invest like robots every month. Same day, same amount, same accounts. Regardless of whether the market just dropped 20% or just hit an all-time high, regardless of whether they feel rich or worried, the amount is set. The schedule is set. The investing happens. In over 20 or 30 years, that mechanical, emotionless habit outperforms almost everything else you could have done with the same money, because the markets over long periods of time go up. And the person who was investing during the down years bought a lot of shares cheap. And the person who waited to invest until things felt safe bought all their shares expensive. I am telling you, the simplest way to outperform almost every active investor in the world is to take a small amount of money every month, put it into a broad index fund, and never look at the account except once a year to make sure the deposits are still happening. That's it. That is the strategy. It works because it removes emotion from the equation. Emotion is what destroys most people's returns. Remove the emotion and the math does the rest. The market goes up and down and up again, and your steady deposits accumulate. And at year 20, you have a sum of money that your active trader friends who tried to time the market and outsmart it never produced. The quietness of this habit is what makes it work. There is nothing to talk about, nothing to brag about, nothing impressive happening month to month, just the deposits, forever, year after year after year. Next. You have to build real relationships with people who are doing better than you, financially. This is the habit most people resist the hardest because it feels uncomfortable to be the least wealthy person in the room. But the discomfort is the cost of admission, and the price is worth paying. You see, your financial reality is largely shaped by what you believe is normal. What you believe is normal is largely shaped by who you spend your time with. If you spend all your time with people in roughly the same financial position as you, that position will feel like the ceiling. You won't push past it because nothing in your social world is pushing you past it. But if you spend even some of your time with people who are operating at a higher financial level, your sense of what is normal expands. Things you would never have considered start to feel possible. Approaches you would never have learned start to be visible. Conversations you would never have had start to happen. And your trajectory bends slowly in the direction of the new normal. Let me tell you about somebody. I once knew a man who, at 35 years old, realized something unsettling about his life. His 5 closest friends all made roughly the same amount of money he did, within 10 or 15%. They had been friends since their 20s. They had similar jobs, similar lifestyles, similar incomes. And he realized that was not a coincidence. That was the architecture of his entire financial life. He was making what he was making because the people around him were making what they were making. The whole social circle was acting as a financial ceiling, even though no one had ever explicitly designed it that way. So he decided to do something deliberate. He committed every year for the next 10 years to add one new person to his life who was further along than he was, not to use them, not to network them, just to genuinely build a relationship with somebody who was operating financially at a higher level and learn from them naturally by being in their company. Some of those relationships didn't take, some did. Over the years, he ended up with 3 or 4 new friendships with people whose financial lives were genuinely different from his. He kept his old friends. He didn't replace anybody. He just expanded the circle. And here's what happened. The way he thought about money started to change. He started seeing options he had never considered: investments, side businesses, career moves, income structures. None of his new friends were preaching at him. They were just talking about their lives. And in their lives, things were possible that he hadn't realized were possible. By year 12, his income had quadrupled. Not because any specific friend gave him any specific advice, because the entire mental field he was operating in had shifted. The new normal was different, and he had risen slowly and almost involuntarily to meet it. He told me years later that the deliberate expansion of his social circle was the single most consequential decision he had ever made about money. Not a stock pick, not a deal, not a business move. Just the slow, deliberate, sometimes uncomfortable choice to be the least wealthy person in some of the rooms he walked into. You don't rise above the average of the 5 people closest to you. You must be deliberate about who those 5 people are. The math will do the rest. Next. Learn one new income relevant skill every year. Not for fun, not for general enrichment. Specifically a skill that, if added to what you already do, makes you more valuable in the market. You see, most people stop learning the day they leave school. They become a fixed skill set. They get good at their job, and then they coast on that skill for the next 30 years, hoping their raises will keep pace with inflation. Sometimes they do, often they don't. And the worker who hasn't added a new skill in 15 years is the worker who, when the economy shifts, is the first to be cut and the slowest to be rehired. The quietly wealthy never stop learning income-relevant skills. They are deliberate about it. Every year they pick one skill, something that complements what they already do, and they spend the year getting better at it. By the end of the year, they can do something that 12 months earlier, they could not. Here's the truth. Skills stack. The person who has 2 complementary skills is worth more than the sum of the parts. The person who has 3 is worth significantly more than that. By the time you have 4 or 5 complementary skills, all sharpened through deliberate annual practice, you are operating in a category that has very few other people in it. And the market pays for that kind of rarity, not in linear increments, in multiples. The person with the rare skill stack can charge what they want, work where they want, set terms most people cannot dream of. And they got there not by being smarter than anybody, by being more deliberate over a longer period of time. The skill you pick each year doesn't have to be huge. It can be a software your industry uses, but you've avoided. It can be a language relevant to your customers. It can be a communication skill you've been weak on. It can be writing, or speaking, or analysis, or negotiation. Pick one. Work on it for the year. Don't try to get great at it in 3 months. Spread the effort across 12. Read about it. Practice it. Find somebody who does it well and learn from them. By the end of the year, the skill is yours. Then pick the next one. Forever. Next. You must protect your reputation like it is the largest asset you will ever own. Because it is. Your reputation is the only piece of wealth that takes a lifetime to build and a single bad decision to destroy. And the people who understand this protect it accordingly. You see, the quietly wealthy are usually not the most charismatic person in the room. They are not the loudest. They are not the most exciting. But they are, almost always, the most reliable. They do what they say they will do. They pay what they owe. They show up when they say they will show up. They tell the truth even when the truth is uncomfortable. They do not gossip. They do not betray confidences. They do not take shortcuts that compromise their word. And the cumulative effect of those quiet behaviors over decades is that they become the person other people want to do business with, the person other people want to refer, the person other people trust with opportunities, money, partnerships, leadership. Here's the truth. The opportunities that produce real wealth almost never come from cold outreach or generic application. They come from referrals, from the phone call that says, I know somebody who is good at this and who will do what they say they'll do. Your reputation is what gets you on that list. And the list is what produces the opportunities that change everything. You build the reputation in pieces by keeping every small promise, by delivering on every commitment, even the small ones, by telling the truth in low-stakes situations so that you have credibility in the high-stakes ones, by not cutting corners that you think nobody is watching. Because somebody is always watching, even when you think they aren't. And you protect the reputation by being careful with every interaction. You don't burn bridges. You don't speak badly about people behind their backs. You don't get into petty arguments that follow you for years. You handle disagreements directly, privately, professionally. You leave every relationship, even the ones that didn't work out, in a place where the other person would speak well of you if asked. You must protect that reputation through every interaction. Do that for 30 years, and you have an asset that no investment can produce, a name that opens doors, a reputation that does work for you, even when you're not in the room. And the quiet wealth that follows is exactly the size of the reputation you've quietly built. So here's what I want you to carry with you. 10 quiet habits. None of them are dramatic. None of them would make a good story. All of them have been running in the lives of quietly wealthy people for decades, while everybody else was looking for the loud answer. Pay yourself first. Keep a running record of every dollar. Live below your visible means. Wait before you buy. Stop spending to impress people who don't care. Negotiate every recurring expense once a year. Invest steadily, regardless of how you feel. Build relationships with people doing better than you. Learn one new income-relevant skill every year. Protect your reputation like it's your largest asset. That is the whole list. Nothing in there requires you to be smarter than anybody. Nothing requires luck. Nothing requires a windfall. The only thing required is consistency over years, while most of the people around you are still hunting for the loud answer that almost never comes. Listen, you must take this seriously. Pick 3 of these to start, the 3 that hit you hardest when you heard them. Install them slowly and deliberately into your life over the next 90 days. Then come back in 3 months and pick 3 more. By the end of a year, you will be running half this list. By the end of 3 years, all of it. And by the end of 10 years, the financial position you are in won't look anything like the position you started from. Not because anything dramatic happened. Because every single day for 10 years, the small habits were quietly accumulating into something bigger than anybody around you could see. Because the small things done quietly every single day were doing their work the entire time. I am telling you, this is how it actually happens. Not in the way most people think. Not by the move that changes everything. By the dozen small habits that run together over years, quietly compound into a financial life nobody else can figure out how to copy. They look at you and see luck. They see good timing. They see things they would not see if they had been watching the small daily actions for 10 years. You will know what they don't. You will know that there was no luck. There was no break. There was only the quiet habits run with discipline, while the rest of the world was still looking for the loud answer. The loud answer was never coming. The quiet ones were always the way. They still are.